clinic and psychiatrist for the audio study.
You call that radio?
Good evening and welcome to You Call That Radio TV. We're about to go live to Ayrshire, maybe? Is it Ayrshire? I don't know if it's actually in Ayrshire. Brownbear, are you here?
Hey, how's it going? I'm in Ayrshire.
Representing Ayrshire. I just wasn't sure if you still stayed in Ayrshire, but I know that you're repping.
Repping Ayrshire, still here.
Oh, good stuff, man. Keeping it real Ayrshire style. Yeah, man. And I bumped into you in Oban, of all places.
I know, that was mad. I was turning the corner and I was like, it's yourself.
Yeah, man, it's a lovely place. Were you up there? I think you were just you were about to play Oban at that point.
Yeah, we were about to do the show for this Scotland on tour, and I think that's going on, and we were about to play The View in Oban. So I was doing the promo the day I met you. It was like because Scotland on tour was just launching, it was like, I don't know, man, they get you to go up and do pictures and all that stuff to try and promote the whole thing. And then we went back a few weeks later and played in Mull and Oban, and it was lovely, just such a lovely experience to be up in the Highlands.
It's magical, man. It felt brilliant after being up there. It was such a good place. And how did the gigs go down? You've been really busy with the touring and stuff like that.
Yeah, it was. Well, first of all, we tried out that taco place.
Well, I get told by someone. I think somebody told me about the fish tacos, and we went there and we sat on the roof and it was really nice. But yeah, it was a good scran there. And if anyone's going to Oban, check out the fish taco stand.
Yeah, it was amazing. And the shows have been so good. You know, Oban was the band, so that's always like, it's always nice to be back doing that. And then after before Oban, we had Mull, and I did that myself, and it was just such a lovely experience. Like doing a solo show is always a bit different because you can kind of have freedom to play what you like. And
was that Tobermory? Was it?
Yeah, it's in Tobermory and Tobar, and
I think
it was just
in the same hotel. The same hotel. It was at Western Isles Hotel. Or
something
like
beautiful, wasn't it? Oh,
brilliant,
unbelievable, and just such a great audience. Like they were just so up for. Yeah, like just so up for chatting and you know, like getting behind the songs and wanting to get to know me, and it was like just I don't know, it was a lovely experience. So yeah, I'm just always grateful to have that time up in the Highlands.
And so the Western Isles one, that was a solo thing. So yeah, so Brownbear, is Brownbear the band, or is it the solo artist, or is it everything?
It's everything. I think, you know. Yeah, it's everything. It's hard to say, isn't it? Because like sometimes we go as the band, and sometimes it's just me. But for the most part, I just kind of call it Brownbear. It's me. I do the songs, but it's nice to have that flexibility to go, hey, like, you know, with Mull, it wasn't a case of like anything other than they realised, you know, that the kind of infrastructure for what show you're doing with the band just now might not work here. Would you try it solo? And I went, cool, yeah, whatever, let's do it. So it's nice to have that option and know, well, you know, if we can't do a big production, then I'll just go and do the show, and then it's a chance to build the audience to go back with the band. So yeah, Brownbear is just whatever suits in that moment, I think.
And we've got Lou is tuned in. Hello, Lou. Hello, Katie Dyke. Shout out, please, Katie. Shout outs to Katie. You're better off watching it on YouTube. If you're watching it on Facebook, we recommend it's a wee bit better. It's going to sound a bit better on YouTube because we're going to actually play some the new video from Brownbear, which is absolutely fantastic. And I think that was that launched. Was that a King Tut's gig? I sold out King Tut's or something like that.
Yeah, we'd done that before, and then Tut's was on sale, but then it got taken off sale because of lockdown, and it got rescheduled, and then eventually we said, let's just call it a day with this and move on, because it's kind of it just got to the point where it felt like, well, if we don't know when it's happening, like, why are we keeping money out of people's pockets? Like, why would it's not like, you know, a lot of people said, oh, don't cancel it because we would rather you had the money, but you know yourself, like gigs like that, money doesn't go to the bands, so we're like, it's not sitting anywhere but in a promoter's bank account. Let's just get this money back to people. So now we've got shows coming up in May. We're doing Stereo on the 25th in Glasgow, and then 26th of May we're in Mashers in Edinburgh, and then the 27th we're up in Aberdeen. So it's a chance to get back out with the band, try out some new material, like the singles out. We've just finished up working on an album, so it's like kind of a great chance to start trying those songs out live.
And I've got the link. I'm going to put the link tree in the comments for anybody who's wanting to check out the upcoming gig. So it's Stereo's a good one though, man. I think some of my favourite gigs ever have been at Stereo. It's just they've always got a good sound system in place, and it just seems to be a nice size.
Yeah.
And yeah, just good banter to be had at Stereo.
It's good vibes, isn't it?
Yeah, man, absolutely. What time is that? What date is that?
That's the 25th of May, so it's a Wednesday.
It's 25th.
We had all these plans for when things might happen, and as you know, being in the band, things don't always pan out. So we were like, well, there's no weekends coming up, but we'll just get on with it. And then as things have been more relaxed, we're like, we could have actually waited and done a weekend there. But so Wednesday night. But
it's been tough, like trying to find a weekend slot anywhere. I mean, I don't know if it's got a wee bit better now, but I remember I think it was January we were looking at stuff, and it was, you know, for all the venues that we were looking at, it was like July, and then July's festival season, so it's always a bit tough doing gigs and that. So yeah, man, but it's Wednesday night, so that's that I've put that in my diary, man. I'll try and head along to that one.
Yes.
But yeah, so I've got the link here, so it's a link tree for Brownbear official, and the new. Could you tell us a little bit about the new single? I'm going to maybe play it just for maybe people who aren't familiar with your music, so they can check out the good stuff.
Yeah. It's the latest single. We were just like, we'd recorded a couple back to back going into, well, just prior to the lockdown. Retro came out just as we went into lockdown, which is kind of the worst possible timing. And then we had one more night sitting waiting, and we got to make a video. But again, like the whole thing with the pandemic just kind of derailed everyone's plans and the whole project. So when the time came about to get it done, we got it out, and it was very much the story of like a relationship I'd been in and a breakup, and that situation where you know you should end it but you don't, or you keep coming back and you're just kind of not really facing up to the reality. So I thought we released it on Valentine's Day pretty much, which is utterly depressing. But yeah, so that single, and then we did a great video which I think we're going to see, so we can talk about the video after. But yeah, so it's been a lot of fun coming back and doing something new.
It's an amazing video. One More Night by Brownbear. Let us know in the comments what you make of it.
Look, we've tried, okay, and it always ends the same.
So what? That's it. We just give up.
Look, it's not about you.
Oh, hold on.
What's it about then?
It's about him.
Come on, he doesn't mean it. You know he doesn't mean it. It's just the way he is.
I'm leaving.
Opposites attract, but every day I'm more like you. And no one wants for this to end, but we both know that it should. And we say, one more night won't give us. I've been no amount of time will save this love. To pack your bags, we're moving on to better things. You take one last look back, and desperate hope that things might change. And you say, one more night won't kill us, but no amount of time will save this love. We are free.
Brothers and sisters, may the peace that can only come from the one God be upon you. We are here.
Amazing stuff. Superb. And what the video looks so amazing, man. I remember when I just seen the photo of it, I was like, that's incredible. How did that come about? And
Man, it's always been the way for me where I just go in and I've worked with some great people in videos and I always say, I've got this idea, and they go, here we go again. And this time they were really like, I don't know how that's going to happen, but kind of somehow along the way we got introduced to a puppet maker called LIbertines through a puppeteer, Stacey Mitchell, who's just incredible. People think I say that because she's my partner now, but we met through the shoot, which is kind of cool. And yeah, it was one of those weird things, and everyone kind of, the more the idea picked up traction, they were like, yeah, this is cool, it's funny, and it's a vibe. And we were lucky enough to get support from Help Musician and Mobile to help make that video, and we made it during the kind of tail end of lockdown. So it was so strange, and a lot of the reason it's shot the way it is and it played into the hands of the puppet was, so you're never really going to be too much in the same bit as the puppet because it might make it not look lifelike. But that how it had to be anyway, because we all had to be 2 meters apart to shoot the video. It was utterly bizarre. But yeah, it was just a lot of fun, and we wanted to come back and do something fun and lighthearted and not get too. We obviously really love making narrative videos, but it's been a heavy few years, and we thought, gosh, if we don't get to come back or anything happens, how do we engage people without playing live? And we're like, just got to make great videos. And you know, there's always been this thing of what is Brownbear and this Brownbear and the face paint, and I was like, well, what if? I think the original discussion was like, what if we have this thing where we bring out you and the face paint, and there's like two sides of you, and I was like, yeah, but it's a bit obvious. Like, how else could we have another version of me and maybe like show things? And like, what if we did it as a puppet? And someone was like, oh shit, yeah. So yeah, it was just a lot of fun, and it's been cool to have that, and we're planning to do some more stuff with it, and it's just exciting to make videos. I think a lot of artists don't focus so much on videos anymore, or when they do it, it's just performing the song. And I think you've got such an amazing ability to tell an extra little insight to what the story means, or give a different reflection to what that story could mean, and it helps drive things forward. So yeah, it was just a lot of fun to work on, and hopefully folk loved it.
yeah, I mean, I think just now with obviously the saturation of music everywhere, it's actually important to have a really good video. It's because people otherwise maybe won't check a song, but I think it's something about a music video, especially when the screenshots from that just look so cool that you're like, right, okay, I need to check that out.
Yeah,
because I noticed that we've done a couple of videos with Jackal Trades from an album that came out last year, but people are like, oh, I love the song, and it's like, well, the album's been out for a year. You maybe should have heard it by now, but it's fair enough. People are just scrolling through and they just see a video and they're like, all right, let's check this out. You've made Kirsten greet. She's greeting. That video made her cry. Hey Troops, good tune. How did you feel watching yourself as an animation? Well, I'm assuming as a puppet.
Yeah, I mean, well, yes. So that's the one thing. It's not animated at all. That's all like, completely live cool action. It's
an actual live puppet. So you've got the puppet for keeps in.
Yeah, he's not with me just now. He's away. Yeah. He's away on his holidays. But man, it was so weird when we saw the picture first to come. We're like, shit, that really is like me. And then, but what makes the puppet come to life is the puppeteer, and Stacey was just like, she knew me so well. She just like his mannerisms and that. It's really spooky. And what's so amazing about it is you'll be. Everyone does this thing at first where you address the puppeteer, but by the time you get into the shoot, people start asking him to do things. You direct the puppet like, hey Brownbear, could you do this? Hey, I mean, and it's bizarre because you just buy it. Even when you're there and you know what's happening, you get sucked into the puppetry and the artist of it, and it's an incredible art form, and a lot of people don't really maybe understand it, but it's in so many films and so much theatre now, and yeah, man, it was weird as hell seeing myself like that, but a lot of fun, and hopefully we're going to do more if things permit, but like anything in music, it costs money to make videos, and there's not a lot of budget and a lot of money in music at the moment, so we just have to be patient and see if we can create anything good.
Joe Buchanan says, loved your acoustic lives in lockdown, because you were actually you did get writing about it at one point. I remember you were doing quite a lot of sort of live music, and also Was it Instagram interviews you were doing?
Yeah, I did a thing called Sunday Socials. So just every Sunday we'd do an Instagram live, me and another musician or someone that worked in music, and we just shoot some shit about the business and have a kind of open conversation. And it was a lot of fun, and we got a lot of. It was nice to talk to. It's funny. I think you'll know yourself. Like we'll talk to each other as musicians, and we'll have a view on something. But the public, we don't talk about it like that to them. We'll say like, oh no, it's all rainbows and no, it's amazing. And it was nice to sit and have frank conversations like this is how the business works. And then a lot of people went, I didn't know that's how it was, and I think that's a good thing to have, because people think like, well, this is it. Like people think, well, why? You will be fine. I see you all the time. Like, well, you don't need me to come to your gig. And you think, yeah, but actually we rely on people to come to gigs all the time because that's how we make our money as independent artists. Or we actually don't want you to listen to Spotify because it doesn't make us any money, but people assume when you've got 1 billion streams you've made a lot of money. You've made absolutely nothing, especially if you're on a label and a deal. So to be able to have really like open conversations and talk about music when we didn't have it was nice, and we could be happy about it and funny about it or frustrated about it. And it was lovely to get like other people to see real sides of artists and musicians, and for me it was I got to know some people. I mean, there's some people who I'm quite friendly with now who my first ever experience of them was talking to them like this on Sunday Social, but now we've kept in touch because I loved their vibe. And yeah, it was just a lovely thing. And it was I mean, I thought about bringing it back, but it's just when the world opened up, life gets in the way and it's harder to have the time to do it. But I love doing it, and just getting to speak about music to people who are at a similar stage and similar level of passion, and we had some bigger artists on it as well, which was nice because that gave a rub once they'd been on it and people started to get a vibe for it. Meant people tuned in and found out about new artists, which is what we want. And we need to keep new artists taking over, and we need grassroots support anywhere we can get it.
I think that's how Joe Buchanan first heard about you. It was chatting to Tom Gray about Broken Records.
Yeah.
So
Tom was on talking about the kind of parliamentary inquiry into streaming and everything that's going on, not just at Spotify. I mean, really, it was a really cleverly done campaign because it kind of targeted Spotify and streaming platforms, but really it was a good chance to open up a conversation about major labels and the deals that they have on table for artists, which really aren't fair or just. And I'm starting to see more and more bands become independent, and I think it's a good thing. I think artists should be independent, and I think we should have the right to our own intellectual property. And it shouldn't be that people think, well, if you're not signed or you're not on Radio 1, that you're not a real artist. There's a lot of independent artists out there who are amazing, and they're doing great things, and they're the same standard. They just have chosen not to go down that route. And I think we need to keep fighting for rights for artists and musicians and songwriters in particular. Right now, are getting kind of a terrible cut of the streaming pie, which is already significantly small. So it's just about, coming out of lockdown, we've all seen how hard artists and musicians were hit. I think it's time for them to stick up and say, hey, we're not going to do the old system anymore because it's exploitative. And I posted something the other day about I've seen a lot of bands cancelling shows because they just don't have the ticket sales to justify them, and there's still a lack of confidence in live music. And there was someone tweeted back like, I'll come up and take their shows, I'll play for free. And I was like, man, that sucks, because that's the problem, is that artists are willing to do it for free. There's this thing that bands should just do gigs for free. It's like, well, what other job in the world would you be expected to turn up and not get a living or minimum wage other than music? Like, so I just think we have to put our foot down and say, hey, if you can't afford to pay people, you shouldn't be able to function as a place that puts music on, because it's not fair that the people who your name for being open is we're a music venue or whatever it is, or we're a music company, but the people who make the music are not being paid. That's crazy. That's just like, that's exploitation. And I don't think artists should have to play for free ever. I think, the people have to be able to feed themselves, and they have to be able to pay their rent and their wages. And, you've changed your whole life for it or whatever, or maybe you haven't, but maybe you've got a talent for it. Like, it just doesn't matter if that's what you do as your job and you're good at it, and you should be able to do that the same as any other job.
Well, the ticket sales does seem to be a big thing. Between ticket sales or maybe bands going on tour, if they're going on a big tour, they tend to get about halfway through it, and then the tour gets cancelled and stuff like that. And I think there was a kind of sort of a purple patch that I missed when gigs did come back, because I was like, well, let's just see how long they're back for. But people were buying lots of tickets. But I remember there was just a moment where, people were giving away tickets for £100, £100 tickets or whatever, because they they'd been flagged up by the track and trace or whatever, the pingdemic.
Yeah.
People were getting pinged, and so I think people were like, well, I'm just going to see how I feel on the night. But I mean, we've been lucky with the gigs that we've done over the last few weeks or a couple of months. They've all been reasonably busy, but I think the majority of them, when I've been talking to other people, it was the ticket sales before. It was like, we're not very good, and then you're just like hoping that the gig goes ahead. I know that some people cancelled gigs due to sort of pre-ticket sales, but I suppose you've got to kind of take that gamble that people will just turn up on the night. But it's not a good feeling going into a gig and going, right, all people turn up. But we were at Gala Shields and we had a similar, I think we had that vibe in Gala Shields on Saturday, but it ended up being, it was busy enough. It was great. Jesse Ray, Stevie Creed, Honey Farm, Minerva Wakes, Jackal Trades, White Keef, DJ Beef. I think I've said everybody. But yeah, it was a really good night in Gala Shields. So somebody was asking that in the comments. How did it go? Stuart Graham, I think it was. Yeah, Stuart, it was a great night. We had a brilliant time. And shouts to Bonnie for looking after us for a wee after party as well. Had a great time during Gala Shields. Prophet64 saying, preach. And Francesca Bailey says, been following Brownbear since I saw them at Hyde Park. Matt is a fabulous musician, artist and human being. Hyde Park, tell us about that, man. That must have been incredible.
What a segue, Francesca. Cheers. She's my pal, so she has to say that. But oh man, it was just, you know what's funny about Hyde Park? People say tell me about it, but I can't really, because what happened was I thought, this is the nice story about it. I remember I was like 17 and Stevie Wonder announced a gig. And I kind of went, I'm going to buy tickets. But then I thought for a minute, is this even real? Is this going to be like a tribute act? I just couldn't believe it was him. But I got on a megabus, went down to London, and I saw Stevie Wonder, and I was standing there. And I was like, man, this is it. This is what I'm going to do. And I'm going to play here. And then maybe 6-7 years later, I was playing Hyde Park. We were supporting the Libertines at that BST Hyde Park summer show they do. And it was just like, it was just madness. It was one of our first shows as well. I was talking about this the other day. It was like, I'd been in a band before and it split up. So when Brownbear started in 2014, it was like we were just straight into like both this single happened and it was on this radio and that radio, and you're on the Libertines reunion show and then the tour, and then this is happening at Hyde Park and LIbertines. And I was like, oh my goodness. And I think I was so overwhelmed by the day, I didn't really know what happened. I was just walking around like a deer in headlights, like what is going on here. But yeah, just what a thing to be able to say you've done, and what an experience. And you know, I look back fondly on that time, and I just wish that we'd been maybe ready for what happened, because I feel like we were so unprepared for any of that it was like we started here and it just went down and down and down and down and down and down and down, because we didn't know what was going on and we didn't have a grasp of where we should be, and it's been a kind of long climb back up. But yeah, man, Hyde Park's just exceptional, and you know, the Libertines were on their game that day, and the Pogues, man, the Pogues were there, and I love the Pogues. Man. I was pure blown away. So the View played and all that. It was like, that's why I was talking about the other day, because if you see the poster for it, Brownbear actually built really high up above like the Twang and the Rifles and the View, and I always thought, like, how did that? People must have been like, who? And it kind of did work, because everybody kind of came to see us play to go, who? And then we couldn't even really answer that question, so they never came back.
So how did you get involved with? Do you know the Libertines, or how did that come about?
We had the same manager, Adrian Hunter, at the time. He'd taken me on, and he loved the stuff, and he was from Gourock. He'd seen us play in the Cafe Continental in Gourock, of all the places in the world. And yeah, he went to the band and said, like, can we do this? And they said, yeah, we love it. And we did the tour with them, and Circle Waves for the other support. And then I ended up working on the Libertines tour, so I kind of know them all quite well now. But I didn't really know them at the time, and then I've kind of grown to know them at a reasonable level. And I would say that the years that I worked on their tour, I loved that a lot more. Not that I didn't love touring with them, it was cool, but I just learned so much on that tour and from all the crew. And they had the most exceptional crew I think I've ever seen and worked with. They were just the best professionals going, and yeah, it was, and what a time as well. Like, see living through all that stuff when, I don't know, it was like, because you got to remember prior to that, our guitar music really didn't feel like it was coming back, and then they came back and it gave it a kind of new lease of life, and that whole reunion didn't feel like it was going to happen at one point, and it did, and seeing all these people, you know, when we were on the shows, when I was working the shows, like seeing they would play a show in like Amsterdam, but like there was like loads of people flown from Japan to see them because they thought it might be their one chance to see them. It was just like a really cool thing to have lived through, and I feel really grateful to have been part of, like a tiny part of it, but a part of that experience.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I seen one of their comeback gigs. I don't know if this is they played the Bars. I'm just trying to remember. So if it was before, I think it was maybe just the winter before the first lockdown, the end of the before times. I think they played Barras. I think it might have been in November or December before. Maybe that would have been 2019, and they were fantastic. Absolutely smashed it. Literally smashed it. I think Pete Doherty smashed the guitar into the crowd. But it was good crack. Barry Martin saying, looking forward to your Edinburgh gig. Do you thrown in a Motown classic to your set?
I was so bad at a gig the other night, and I was just honestly blabbered onto about Motown for most of it. I don't know. We might throw in. I don't know. Actually, it's a weird one for this gig because we've done our final rehearsals now, just the way our schedules work. But I've got a song in the new album that's quite Motown-esque, so if they go off for a bit, I might play it myself, or I'll pitch them a Motown classic. But yeah, I'd love to do more soul covers. I'm all about that. I love soul and I love Motown. So. And I'm trying to do this. I went in to make this new record, and I was like, indie soul. That's going to be our genre. I want that to be our thing. Like our kind of unique thing is like indie soul, and I really want to push that soul side of it. So, yeah, I think. And when I pitched the album, like, it was so amazing because I've had a little bit of time, obviously, with these videos, and then moving into a bit of short film and that, where I've learned a lot from the filmmaking side of things, and we kind of approached the album a bit more like you might approach a film, and we did a lot of things like in takes and cuts, and we were like, we're going to do it this way. And I kind of went into that album as a pitch. Like I was like, hey, I want it to be, when you pitch film, sometimes you'll pitch a reference, you'll say it's like this film meets this film, and I was like, hey, I want this album to be the Miseducation of Lauryn Hill meets Graceland by Paul Simon. And then the producer was like, cool, I kind of get it. Was weird, but I'm with you, and I think we've created something really cool and different, but still distinctly Brownbear, but where we want to be. So, but to answer Barry's question, yeah, you never know. Might do a wee Motown cover.
Amazing, man. I've got Retro lined up. Can we talk a little bit about that before I play it?
Yeah, Retro was the first single back after we did the first album, What's Home. Retro was the first one coming back, and I'd been playing it on keys, and it felt different, and it's one of those funny ones. I went to the band and I thought they wouldn't love it, and they were like, oh, we've got such a vibe, but then we were really worried that people might not like the sound because it's a bit more soulful. But I was like, yeah, but this is more me, and I really love what we're doing, and I like to do things a bit differently. And also for me, I feel like that first album's been, so we don't need to make it again. Like we need to make what's next. And yeah, I just fell in love with the sound, but it was a kind of bittersweet thing where people around us started saying stuff like, you know, now like your sound kind of suits your face and it sounds a little bit blacker, and that's kind of cooler. And I was like, yeah, but like I just did it because it's me, and I don't know, I just felt a bit gutted by that response, and it's bittersweet because I did feel like it was more me, but then that's kind of hard to hear that they thought like, oh, we liked what you did before, but because there's this thing in indie where it feels like maybe like people of colour don't or shouldn't be there, and there's always been a little bit of like bands who have people of colour in them haven't maybe done traditionally as well as bands who don't in indie. So, and that's a conversation I certainly had with some bigger bands during lockdown and kind of the Black Lives Matter stuff. So yeah, it'd been a lot of these things in my mind, and I was being reflective about life, and you know, lyrically, even what, you know, there's a lyric like in the song, it's one of my favourites. It's like, how can you say you love me when you taught me to hate myself? And that was about school, and like, you know, sitting in class and you get that thing, you're doing like geography or whatever, and they're talking about, we send this to Africa and that to Africa, Africa's poor. And then I was sitting going, but like, I'm mixed race and I'm like part African, so like, are they telling me that I'm less? Like, fuck, is school teaching me to be less? Even at that age, I was like, what? Like that, you can't, what? So like, I was thinking a lot about that and about where my place was, and that following on from that first record. And yeah, so when we went in to do the video, we had a bit of that in mind, and we made this video, which was a lot of fun. And I think, yeah, that was another video we shot in one day, which was like a stress, but we got there. So that's Retro.
It's Retro. Let us know in the comments what you make of it. Another belter from Brownbear.
be black affronted.
I've been thinking about the old days. Remember the dial-up tone, chatting to some old flames. Mama waiting on the phone, and now I'm reminiscing split screen. We were playing on the 64, then we'd head to the arcade. We're trying to beat the highest score, and I've been praying for something special, but I'll keep waiting for something retro. And now I'm thinking about the next day. Can I even feed myself? I've been thinking about the big pay, so I can taste some wealth. Cause all this living hungry is messing with my mental health. How can you say you love me when you taught me to hate myself? And I've been praying for something special, but I'll keep waiting for something retro, just like you. Now let's talk about the future. Let's talk about what happens next. I'm so scared I'm gonna lose you. Is there even time to fix this mess? Cause I could feel it slipping backwards, back to the way that it used to be. Trapped by nostalgia, only truth can set you free. And I've been praying for something special, but I'll keep waiting for something retro. Yeah, I've been praying for something special, but I'll keep waiting for someone retro, just like you.
I got you. Ready?
Yeah, he's
1, 2. 1, 2, 1, 2. Yo, this is Charlie Tuna from Jurassic 5 live and direct here in Glasgow, Scotland, and you call that radio?
Be upon you. We are here to tell the people that we hear you. One God will not allow us and people of conscience to lose our morale. We see the crimes of this government, how they support every dictator and criminal on this earth. Sometimes you can feel down. Sometimes you're
Amazing stuff, retro. I'm a 13th note, is that filmed in?
No, it wasn't. It was downstairs at, oh my goodness, it's some, I forgot what it's called, that's terrible. But it was in Glasgow. Yeah.
I recognise it.
Is it maybe the Admiral Bar?
The Admiral, yes, that's that's the venue I got flung out on stage during my set.
Oh, wow.
While I was performing. Yeah, the Admiral. That's a great bar though. No hard feelings. It was just one of those things that happened in the earlier days of performing.
Yeah.
Joe Buchanan says, such a great vibe, this tune. Fire emojis. Kirstine says, brilliant, mate, says Barry Martin. Great listen, says Mary Phillips. Much love from Shanghai. Shouts to Brian, all the way from Shanghai, tuned in. Tam the Van, it says sold and healed. Shouts to Tam. And it's amazing getting back to gigs. Nothing like it, says Joe Buchanan, and Lou is agreeing with that. It's an amazing feeling, the buzz of the crowd enjoying live music again. It's a very addictive feeling. It's been great to have things come back. It's surreal, but it's been amazing. Have you been to any gigs yourself just as a punter, or is there anything that you've seen recently that you've quite enjoyed?
Yeah, I've been to a few gigs. I went to the Amplify stuff that's been on at Queen's Hall, saw Bems.
Yep, big up
And
Bems.
yeah, man, it's just such a good guy, such an amazing artist. And I'm drawing a blank here, but I've definitely been to some gigs. Oh my goodness, I've seen False Friends since lockdown ended. I went to see the Notions. They were supporting the Cartoons in Edinburgh, and I saw the Raz playing in Edinburgh as well. So I've just been trying to see like newer bands. Anytime someone's got something going on, I've been in Edinburgh quite a lot as well. So just try to go and see as many folk as I can. I was supposed to go and see Mark Sharp and the Bicycle Thieves, but I literally got back from Woburn about an hour before the show started, so I didn't make that, which was gutting. But yeah, I've been trying to go to as many independent artist gigs as I can, and just support the new music coming out, because we need it, and I love to see new bands. And I think it's kind of a nicer atmosphere really in it, because it's like coming back from everything that happened, it's more intimate and it's less risk. And you know, when I've had shows on as well, I think like I don't think I'd feel good being in a big crowd, because I want to cut down the risk of getting unwell so we don't have to miss shows. So yeah, just try to see as much as I can.
It's I mean, I think that the sort of smaller bands, the newer bands or whatever. I know it's someone tagged Gyro Babies and up and coming new bands, which is quite nice to be called a new band again. But I suppose it goes back down to that same thing of, you know, what do you call it? In fact, you'll know fellow Ayrshire person, Yvonne McClellan. I'm sure it was her that said that it was many years ago. This is a long time ago. She said that she hated the phrase unsigned. I think it was her anyway that said that. Mm-hmm. And it made me reconsider it, just like we were talking about earlier on as well. It's like unsigned almost sounds like an insult when there's a lot of bands that have decided to just do it of their own accord. And with them, I think that I think you do it, everyone hits a certain point where you've got bands like Sleaford Mods, for example, that I think in order for them to get, you know, to deal with distribution on such a mass level because of their popularity, then maybe you do need to get some help in eventually, but not always. And the most people don't make it as big as Sleaford Mods, so why not just do it yourself and hopefully make a good living for yourself and your band without having to get involved with all of that stuff. We've got Colette in the house. Hi, Sugar Cube. Brought to see you on my telly, love baby doll. Good to see you tuned in, Colette. Paul says Dead Pony on Saturday, then Lewis at a certain gig at Room 2 later in the month. That is correct. We are playing Room 2 on May the 20th alongside Mickey Nine. So it's Mickey Nine's Gyro Babies and someone else, but I'm really looking forward to that one. That's going to be the last gig for a while, because, you know, we're playing Eden, and we've not announced that yet. Shit, we might be playing Eden. We're playing Down the Rabbit Hole, and we're playing one more in England in August. But see, we've played 3 gigs, and I think every single gig we've had somebody's we had Colin Hunter was in drums for us. He broke his shoulder. So that's been a pain in the arse, and we had to change the drummer. And then every other previous gig we had a band member that got COVID. So just having to do that last minute changing, it's so annoying. It's frustrating. You want to just play with the same band twice in a row would be nice. But it is what it is. It's stop complaining and just get on with it. I think everyone's giving everyone the benefit of the doubt, because we're obviously not firing on all cylinders with new band members like that. But Colin was amazing, says George. He ended up playing half the gig with one arm, and then we brought Matt Simon, who you might know from Crook and a few other bands. He's an amazing drummer. So we ended up having 2 drummers. But yeah, Colin, it was incredible what he did with one arm. I don't know how he did it, but it sounded great.
Another Ayrshire guy.
Another Ayrshire. Shouts to Ayrshire. Running things just now. Joe Buchanan's also saying the atmosphere is always awesome with new and up and coming bands. Yeah, I think because people are there for the music, and they're not waiting for the Radio 1 DJ to tell you this is the next big thing. This is something before that happens. So the atmosphere. So I saw Units there at Hugging Pint. It was an amazing night with Harry Weir supporting. I'm not familiar with Harry Weir, but I'm very familiar with Units. We've not seen them live yet, but obviously it's Mandy Clark for Bomb Scare, Katie Tunstall. She's been on the show a few times. And the little clips that I've seen on Instagram has been really cool. I think it's like jazz grime punk. I don't know. Nice. Jazz rock. I don't know. It sounds quite heavy, but also jazzy. So I was gutted I missed that one. I can't remember what I was doing, but I couldn't. Oh yeah, we're shooting a music video with Michael Redmond, which we'll see next week. So yeah, we couldn't do that one. But go and support the bands. I think people are struggling just now, so go because we just thought when gigs come back, everyone will just rush out and go to them. But obviously, it's not quite worked out with that.
I feel like there's been a weird thing that happened where it did it first, but then obviously a lot of people were going and rushing out because reschedules came first. But there was also that weird thing that happened where, like, when everyone finally was allowed out, music still wasn't allowed to happen. So by the time music came back and we're like, hey, we're back, everyone else is like, yeah, we've had normal life again, and we don't care. You've missed our empathy by about a month, guys.
Yeah, because everyone was just going out and going to Weatherspoons and going, oh, I went back out and it was shite.
And this is it as well. People don't have money. Like, that's, I keep thinking, like, music's just stopped being accessible, and I think people now are in this thing where a lot of casual music punters, probably maybe not people that listen to the show, because I imagine they're like really more in-depth music fans and then to finding new artists and stuff. But the casual person probably thinks, well, music's so expensive now, let's just save up and pay £100 to see a massive artist, and we'll go and get a train and through, and we'll get a hotel and we'll make a night of it. Instead of thinking, hey, that 150 quid, I could see like 15 shows where I live. But they don't, because people aren't going to where they live because they can't afford to. And then people don't think to go and see new bands. So like the whole thing just keeps going in a vicious kind of cycle. And
how's things doing in Ayrshire, obviously, because I've not really been back for a long time. They occasionally back down to see a friend or whatever, or a family member, but I've not really. That was always a big problem that Ayrshire had, was the lack of venues. Is it getting any better, or is it still tricky?
Just don't really hear of venues. Like Harbour Arts Centre still doing amazing stuff with Freckfest, with getting people in, but it's not the biggest venue in the world, and I know they've got other things up their sleeves to plan something bigger, which, you know, credit to them, and I hope it goes well. But I think what we keep seeing in Ayrshire is, like, instead of having venues and grafting to try and get them go, we don't have the venues or the infrastructure, and then someone thinks, hey, it's time to do something big in Ayrshire. And when the council gives somebody money to put on a gig, they put on a big gig and they book bands that aren't from Ayrshire, and people don't turn up, and then people go, let's not put on gigs in Ayrshire because people don't come out. But I think we need something here. We need to get more. But again, like, Ayrshire's a strange place where, like, you can get a train from most places in Ayrshire to Glasgow, but not from most places in Ayrshire to other places in Ayrshire. So, like, our infrastructure is, like, not functioning well enough to maybe have that gig economy yet. So yeah, I'd love to see it happen.
Sorry man, that's my boss. I need to wait, Joe. Could you just do a wee plug for what's coming up next for Brownbear while I just answer the buzz on it?
Yes, here we go. I'm on, and the pressure's on. Yeah, so what's coming up next for Brownbear? As I said earlier in the show, we've just finished an album, so hopefully later in the year we're going to have some more singles and videos, and then next year the album and the album shows. We're in stereo on the 25th of May in Glasgow. The 26th of May we're in the Mash House in Edinburgh. 27th we're in Aberdeen, and then we've got shows in June as part of this Scotland on tour. So just keep busy and keeping going, and hopefully Mark gets back soon.
I'm back.
Thanks. Yeah, we did it.
Do you know? It's weird that in about 400 shows that's only ever actually happened twice. I think.
There you go.
With the buzzers, when I've had to answer the buzzer. So sorry about that. Actually, do you know what? I've got this thing as well. I've not used yet. The StreamYard's brought in. It's like background music to while we're doing then. Let's just try this out, see if it works. So it's like we can while we're doing the plugs, you can decide the music. Acoustic, cinematic, dance, pop, daydreaming, feeding the ducks, into space, lo-fi, night driving, or rock.
Let's do cinematic.
So acoustic, cinematic. Let's see if this works. Can you hear that?
Oh.
Can you hear that?
I can hear it.
Oh, good. Okay, so that's working. So, and we've got. I'm just going to do a wee plug for. We've got another show tonight. We've got Bonnie Prince Bob, who is trying to. He's on a campaign trail. He's going up for councillor of Edinburgh City Centre. He's going to be on next. So let's try that. Does it work with the music? Will it still work? Will the music still play while this pops up on the screen? There we go. So this is what's coming up. Bonnie Prince Bob's next at 8 o'clock. We've got Darren Loki McGarvey on tomorrow at 7 o'clock. And we've got Dominic Diamond, the legendary Games Master presenter, on the show on Thursday. And I hope that meant more to you because it's background music. And he'll come back on the show at 8 o'clock. I'll put a link in the comments to check that out. And yeah, keep up the good work, mate. It's been great chatting to you. And I will hopefully see you on was that the 25th?
Yeah, 25th at Stereo in Glasgow. So hopefully see you all
25th,
there.
mate, at Stereo in Glasgow. Go and do it, people. Go and do it. Your music has great vibes, says Kirstine.
Thank you, Kirstine.
The grassroots venues are the best over any large stadium. I agree 100% with that.
Absolutely.
Money is a big problem. I agree with that as well. It is
Absolutely.
a problem. As Kirstine, we haven't been paid since January now to being off work after a hand up. Can't wait to get back fully and get to even more gigs. Amazing. People that go to the small gigs, you are the key workers and we salute you. Night driving, got your new jacket here. Amazing. I've got a high-vis jacket from Tam. Thank you, Tam. And I'm just going to cut out the acoustic cinema because that was getting a bit much there. But yeah, it's good to know that works, that section works. So May the 25th, go and check out. I'm going to once again put the link to all Brownbear stuff in the comments and in the info. Go and support it. And I've got enough time to have a wee cup of tea, and then we'll be back at 8 o'clock for Bonnie Prince Bob, who's going to have some strong words to say, I'm sure, about the current state of Edinburgh Council, and he's going to try, as an independent, to become the new councillor. I don't know, is there a few councillors? How does it work?
I think there'll be a few.
There'll be a few. Well, we'd get Bonnie Prince Bob on as well, and we'd get my vote if I was in Edinburgh. Better atmosphere and smaller venues, supporting new bands too. Exactly. Support local artists. Unless you live really, really far away, then support really, really far away artists. Thank you, Matthew. Great speaking to you tonight.
Thank you so
much. Good luck
much.
with everything coming up. And yeah, man, hopefully see you on the 25th.
Yeah, see you there. Thank you so much, everyone.
Bye.
Do you want weird or do you want it?
If you don't